never slow up, no I don't take shit, I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever...
Hey team, hope you're all doing well. Today's topic I wanted to go over strategizing your long runs before your goal races. And I got a question here. Infinite Gaming 1015 asked me, he said, hey coach, goal race is November 2nd. I got a 25-mile long run 3 weeks before. I was wondering if I could run a half marathon at marathon pace as part of the 25-miler and maybe throw in some faster paces after the half before cooling down. If it was me, Infinite Gaming, if it was me, I wouldn't do a 25-miler. I would probably do, the time I'm making this video is the 4th of October, so it's just shy of 4 weeks out from your goal race. If it was me, I would do an 18-miler instead of a 25-miler and do 13 miles of that, or half marathon portion of your 18-miler at marathon pace, and then the last 5 miles nice and easy. Or you can do maybe like a 2-mile warm-up, 13 miles at goal marathon pace, and a 3-mile cool down. So that way you're not going so far, 25 miles that far from... Okay, baby girl. Come on. 25 miles 3 weeks out from your marathon. I think that's pretty steep in my opinion. For a lot of athletes, they could maybe still get away with it, but I think that keeping your volume still relatively high, doing instead of a 25-miler, do an 18-miler instead, is a smarter move, because again, you don't want to go into your goal race, which is November 2nd, feeling overly fatigued. Okay, I think a 25-miler, you're basically running a marathon as your last long run about 3 weeks before, as you stated. I think it's too aggressive, man. So again, if it was me, I think still keeping it high, relatively high, doing an 18-miler instead of a 25-miler. Do a 2-mile warm-up, 13 miles or half marathon, 13.1 miles at goal marathon pace, and then a 3-mile cool down. And let that be your workout. Because what I don't want for you or any other athlete is you still want to keep your volume high, you still want to keep your intensity high, but doing that far of a long run, basically a marathon, about 3 weeks out, or just over 3 weeks out, I think it's too much for any athlete. I certainly wouldn't do a 25-miler 3+ weeks out from my goal marathon. I think doing a 25-miler 5 weeks out rather than 3 weeks out is a better move, because again, you have a little bit more leeway in terms of recovery, and not running the risk of going into your race feeling flat and feeling fatigued. Again, you do want to challenge yourself in training. You don't want to race in training. You don't want to go, overly anaerobic in training, because again, you want to save the real effort for the race itself. So the workouts in training isn't the time to set a PR in training. You want to set a PR in the competition itself. So you don't want to go too aggressive and then mistime your taper. And again, I think keeping your long run relatively high, still 18 miles is a long way to go. But again, if you do that, say tomorrow, which is October 5th, rather than doing a 25-miler, I think you'll be in a better spot. Again, you're still going to get a huge physiological boost from doing an 18-miler long run. But again, I think the timing, if it was me, I would, my long run, the longest I've ever done for a long run was 30 miles. I only did that one time, but I did many 25 milers, 27 milers a couple times, but most of my long runs are usually between 20 and 23 miles in length. I don't think going anything further than 23 miles is going to really net you any additional physiological fitness, physical and mental fitness, because again, there is a point of diminished returns where you're pushing too hard and you're not timing the workouts properly. So I do think that, and that's tough to do. I mean, I remember leading into the 2011 Monumental Indianapolis Marathon, I did my fastest 20-mile long run in 1 hour, 50 minutes, and 2 seconds, averaging 5:30. It was 5:30 per mile for those 20 miles. I did that 6 weeks out from the race. And I think looking back, maybe if I would have done that 5 weeks out, or at the most 4 weeks out, I think I would have felt even stronger. So I do think, anywhere from like doing a 25 miler 3 weeks out from your goal race, again, and it's not to say you can't still go out there and do that. If you want to do your long run tomorrow, which is October 5th, or you want to do it on Sunday, which is October 6th, and do a half marathon portion of that 25 mile marathon pace, you can go ahead and do that. But just make sure you are jogging after you do the half marathon portion. Okay? I can't stress that enough. Jog. I mean, if there was a little 7 or 8 year old kid, he or she should be able to run next to you during that easier section. Okay? Because again, 25 miles is a lot of stress on the body, a lot of inflammations build up. And again, with such a short amount of time going into the goal marathon, I still think, like I said, this is just me personally. For other athletes, they might be, say, 25 miler, 3 weeks plus out from my goal race. It's still doable. And I guess it could still be doable, but I think, again, if you keep that long run no further than 18 miles, you'll be fine. Do that this weekend, and then do a 15 miler 3 weeks out, and then like 10 miles 2 weeks out, 8 miles 1 week out, and then you're hardly doing anything leading into your goal race. I think that's the smarter move. I mean, you do want to keep several weeks, like the last 8 weeks going into your goal race. You want to keep those long runs anywhere from 20 to 25, and if like I said, I've only done a few 25 milers or over that in my entire career. It's usually it's, like I mentioned, between 20 and 23. And most of the time it was like 20 to 22, around that range. I still think the sweet spot for most runners is around anywhere from 18 miles to 22 miles. And there are some athletes that feel like, hey, maybe I should go a little bit further. Maybe I'll try a 28 miler. Maybe I'll try a 30 miler and, even go up to 50K for my long runs, because again, that's going to help the athlete psychologically. Again, it's about using leverage, and working smart and not necessarily working harder. So I hope this is helpful for you, Infinite Gaming, as you go into this November 2nd marathon. And, like I mentioned, you're not going to be any less fit if you do an 18 miler versus if you do a 25 miler. I just said, like I mentioned, if you choose to do an 18 miler tomorrow or Sunday, which is again October 5th or October 6th, I think you'll be in a better place going into your goal race, which is on the 2nd. I think the 25 miler would have been a long run of that distance would have been better for either 6 weeks out or 5 weeks out at the latest. Because again, that's still a decent amount of time to recover from such a long run. And then you have 13.1 miles at an aggressive pace. You're going at marathon pace during that 25 miler. And so I don't think going a 25 miler, doing the half marathon of that at goal marathon pace, and then picking up a few miles at the end, like you mentioned, at a faster pace before you do your cool down is the way to go. So that's my answer. Do an 18 miler, 13 miles at goal marathon pace, 2-mile warm up, 13 miles at goal marathon pace, 3-mile cool down. That's what I would do. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this helps not only you, Infinite Gaming, but anybody else that's trying to set up those last 3 weeks going into your goal marathon. Hope this is helpful for you. If you have any other questions, leave me a comment below. Check out the resources below these videos or on RunDreamAchieve.com if you're trying to take your racing and training to the next level. I'm highly confident that those resources will help you set a new personal best.